All right, so we have Harry Mazzio here in the studio.
Hey.
And back over about a decade ago, I met Harry. It seems like, I'm getting old.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
It's the mentality.
Father time is going right along.
Never stop dancing.
But back over a decade ago, we used to have people all the time go, what are all these kids doing walking up and down Limestone Road, going to Dunkin' Donuts, and then going to the Harmony Grange?
Bunch of delinquents, tell you.
Bunch of delinquents. And actually, you are responsible for those delinquents.
Uh-oh.
And
I'd like to say I gave a place for all the delinquents to go. Nah, there's a lot of good kids.
There are great kids. And
a lot of great kids.
That's the thing I always try to tell people. People are always like, oh, what's going on? Those kids, they look a little shady.
It was right on the Route 7. We weren't hiding anything.
No.
Come to the rock show. Friday
Exactly.
night, Saturday night. What do you got going on? Come see some bands.
So it became a musical nirvana here in Delaware.
Oh, man.
that I haven't seen it matched since then. I mean, there's a gaping hole in the music scene in the state of Delaware in so many ways, and we can talk about that as we get started here. But I want to know, how did you get started with Project Unity? Was it Project Unity when you first started? Did you get inspired to do that? Where did those shows come from?
I played in bands for a long time, just growing up. High school, doing this, doing that. Jumped out of a band, needed something to do, wanted to contribute, still to the music scene in some way, shape, or form. So just started, putting on, local shows, hitting up friends' bands. Then that would spread to, some out-of-state bands would come through. We weren't just rocking with Delaware bands. Now we have Philly bands, Jersey bands, New York bands. And then we were like, all right, let's get this MySpace going and let's start asking for
MySpace.
submissions.
Yeah.
We're really taking it back. Anybody remember MySpace? Actually, I think we're going to be a migration back to that, but we'll
Justin
see.
Timberlake, he's working hard on that.
There you go. Hey, let's
he bought
do
it out.
Yeah, everything comes full circle
Exactly.
eventually. After that, we would get submissions from here, there, and everywhere, and then I guess we just got lucky, man. I don't know, some booking agents figured out who we were and what we were doing, and they started feeding us bands that were coming through on tour. One thing led to another. Within a year and a half, 2 years, we were consistently booking national acts every weekend. It's crazy. But we were also getting able to put the local bands on as well.
Right.
So it was this great mixture of, local bands, touring bands, and everybody just loved it. Coming out, Friday night, Saturday night, who are we going to see,
Right. And so for those who've never been in the Harmony Grange, it's not a large space. It's maybe, would you say, 80 feet wide?
Yeah, something around that. Sounds
It's about
right.
80 feet wide, maybe 100 feet deep, maybe a little bit more deep. But it was basically a hall with a small stage up on the top. Had a little kitchen area with some bathrooms off to the back left.
Yeah. Modest, very modest.
Modest space, but it housed bands that, as like I said, there's been a gaping hole. The Kahuna used to get some big acts, right? So when Kahuna was down on the riverfront, you could see Les Claypool play with Primus or the Frog Brigade. You could see Green Day play.
Oh yeah,
the really big names.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went away.
Yeah.
But to match different genres, the Fall Out Boys, the Brand News, Strider, going, into some of the different...
Taking it back.
Yeah, taking it back a little bit. Jonah Matranga, who's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
I know One Line Drawing when you brought him through when he was doing that.
Yeah.
That's kind of... you just didn't have an avenue for that. So how hard was it? They started reaching out to you when you were on MySpace. How hard was it for you to start booking? You were young, so you come out of high school. About how old were you when you first booked your show? What would you say your age was at your first show?
Well, first show, pre-Project Unity, pre-Grange. Sure. We did some shows at Girls Inc. back in the day.
Oh, wow.
This is coming right out.
How long ago did you do Girls Inc.? I used to go there.
This is coming right out, a couple of years after Boys Sets Fire.
Boys Sets Fire, that's where I used to go, yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess 16, 17, 18,
okay.
I started getting together with some friends or my old band Lowdown would do it. Shout out Lowdown, what's good, y'all? What do you call it? So, yeah, that's kind of where I got my feet wet, so to speak. And then, it was there's this new venue that we can use. Well, not new, it's very old.
Right.
Apparently back in the early 90s, they had used it for some shows, and then stuff got a little crazy, and they said, oh, no more shows.
Right.
No more shows. This is crazy. So, I guess the doors were opened up again, so to speak. So we got in there. There's, probably about half a dozen shows from different promoters and things like that. And, a year go down, year and a half. Now it's just us doing shows there, and I don't know, like it was kind of like fight or flight.
Right.
I just figured it out. You know, like I said, once we got certain people's attention, the floodgates kind of open. So now I'm like in the database of like all these national touring agents. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like from, you know, Florida to California to New York to, you know, Idaho. I mean, like you can be a booking agent anywhere you want to be. That's the beauty of like the internet and phone calls and emails.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're getting hit up from all these different directions, and it's like, all right, what can we handle? What can we do? So we were just getting an influx of shows, and like once that train just started rolling, that was it.
So when you're young, like, you know, my students, they're in high school, so, you know, 14 to 18.
Yeah.
So it's around the age where you were when you started in your early 20s as you're booking some of these larger acts. I can imagine being really intimidated when a large act all of a sudden is contacting you saying, hey, we hear that you put on some good shows. Yeah. Would you mind having this act, you know, be a part of your show? Did you ever feel like your age was getting in the way, or did you actually think that it helped make you fearless and you just kind of attacked?
I was pretty fearless. Like when you're dealing with, you know, booking agents and things like that, you know, you have to go in with a certain mentality. You have to be pretty confident. Sure. You have to do your research. You know, they're going to throw numbers at you, and your job as a promoter, at least I thought my job was, to throw something back. And,
sure.
You know, obviously we're never going with the first price that we're asked for. You know,
right.
We're going to negotiate. We're going to fight tooth and nail sometimes. Like
right.
we might have to go back half a dozen times before we can figure out a place that we're both happy and satisfied. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if age had anything to do with it, instinct, like whatever, upbringing. Like I think it was a combination of everything. But I think I handled myself pretty well.
Yeah, and I mean, you're on the hook. Like if you agree that somebody's making $2,500 for a show, you got to get $2,500 for them. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, ideally you want to have that before the show,
right.
starts. Just in case nobody shows up. That's very scary business right there.
Exactly, because I remember when you started selling the wristbands, you went to the online format.
Yeah.
You know, purchase your tickets ahead for the show.
Legit.
Trying to do a little bit more legit than just show up.
Moving up in the world.
Yeah,
a little
exactly.
bit.
But I can imagine I'd be scared out of my mind if I just booked an act and I'm going, oh man, I really hope the people show up to this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes it was that, but I feel like a lot of times, you know, right place, right time, man.
Sure.
Right place, right time. Because like I said, you know, the Grange was being booked by about half a dozen people. Again, problems arose like it did in the 90s where people just weren't taking care of the venue.
Right.
So
Teenagers.
we actually had to fight tooth and nail with them for about 6 months to just be like, look, please trust us. Like, we got
right.
this. Like,
get rid of these people.
No, I mean,
No, but in some respects, like, we have a plan for how they handle the nonsense that happens.
Right.
They're not going to ensure that they have that plan.
Right.
Let us take care of it.
Right. Yeah.
Simple. Taking the responsibility.
Just clean up, you know?
Yeah, I'm not saying you're
Don't
kicking
destroy.
people out. I just think,
yeah. So we were the last one standing, and, you know, it took some work, but it was worth it, you know?
Right.
Fast forward 10, 15 years later, like, wow, looking back,
some great years.
Almost being 35, I can't believe actually half the stuff that we pulled off there. It is kind of unreal.
Yeah, I mean, my students, you know, I'm in the middle of a planning period, so I don't really have a lot of people here. But I see that we have two out there, Mariana and Jordan. They probably have no idea, like the level of acts that you were able to come in contact with and book, acts that their parents were listening to, right? Seriously.
At this point,
yeah,
we're getting there.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
So I
got friends with kids in high school, so
what's the best show you ever put on in your opinion?
Oh man, it's crazy. I remember the early November came, one very, very hot summer day, and Ace, which was just like incredible musician, talent, just being great person. Just couldn't say no, like to the crowd. Like they had played their set. It was unreal. It was hot. It was just sweaty. I mean, kids were just raging. Awesome show, and they're yelling encore, 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 and like we're all looking at Ace like he's about to drop.
Right.
Like straight up. Like it was hot in there. We're like, fan him, get him air, get him water, like whatever we can do. Like yeah, he's not gonna make it. And he got up there and he did the encore, and it was amazing.
Wow.
So I mean, that was just one moment out of like so many magical moments. I mean, there were so many great shows along the way. Brand New was an amazing show. That was another packed one. That was another one where that was pretty early on, actually. That
it was.
I feel like that was a pivotal point in Project Unity because that definitely opened up the floodgates, so to speak, or put us on the map.
Yeah,
more or less put us on the map.
They played the Lighthouse during the Dewey Beach Music Festival because we were playing next door while they were playing.
Yeah.
And you had them before the Lighthouse had them, and that was a packed show. And they were playing with Piebald, I think, back then. Yeah, I mean,
we win again.
Yeah, that's a
no,
great
it's not
win.
about winning.
No,
but we were always ahead of the curve, man.
It is about winning in some respects when it comes to the industry, though, because you do need to be ahead of the curve.
True.
I mean, part of being an artist, and I think that there's an art to booking as well.
Totally.
Part of an artist is having a vision for how you want it to come together. So Project Unity, how did you come about this name? Because that has to go into part of that.
Project Unity, man. It's a project. We're trying to unify. I mean, it is what it is, you know? No mystical underlining. I mean, it's just, there it is, Project Unity Productions.
Right.
You know? I don't know, it just came one day, and it stuck. And the only thing I don't like about it is the acronym. PU, PUP.
I never got that before.
Yeah, hey, you know, it's things people think
to.
about, you
Wow,
know?
yeah,
It's like we're our own worst critic, you know? So, but besides that, nah, yeah. And I think we try to embody that because there's so many different styles of music, and we really did try to at least go in and do a couple hip-hop shows.
Sure.
Or try to do, punk rock worked, hardcore worked, metal worked, indie rock worked, hip hop a little not as much as any of the like that wave of the mid 2000s that came through.
Right. I also have to imagine
and the little dance parties here and there.
Right.
You know, we try to we try to include everybody.
I have to imagine
whether it worked or
hip-hop
not.
would be hard to book in the demographic of where you were. Once you've established, like I know in radio, you're supposed to identify who's the one person that listens to this right now.
Yeah.
And that's the person we program for.
Yeah.
So when you're booking a show, it's the same thing. You can't be all things to everyone.
Right.
Right? If you were running a place down in Wilmington and all of a sudden you now have both an urban environment with people that would want to be a part of a hip-hop show, as well as people that want to travel into the city of Wilmington, that want to see metal shows, that want to see punk shows.
Yeah.
That completely changes the demographic.
I can think of a place in Wilmington.
I could think of a place, too, and it's a place that actually needs someone booking shows right now.
I've known a place in Wilmington for about 6 years now.
Yeah,
but,
and it has not been, in my humble opinion, it has not been living up to the standard of what it should be. And that's not to take anything away of the great talented people who are down there that have played over and over.
Right.
But
true that. Respect.
I'll just name the place. You know, if we're talking about the Queen in Wilmington, I think it's a wonderful space.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready.
You're ready to play.
Put me in, coach.
We can put.
I'm ready to play. Yeah, come on, man.
You know,
What's up?
But if I'm thinking about, you know, what would be cool to revitalize Wilmington and everything else, I look at what you've been involved in the past, and I go, that's a no-brainer. Like somebody like yourself, you know, I don't know if you still have the contacts you had.
Oh, they didn't go in.
But
I have the contacts.
If you're anything like me, you hoard those contacts and you say, I know this person.
And those guys, you know, they didn't plateau. Like they went even further in their careers. So like the amount of talent that we could bring in is unreal. We are in the hotbed. If you're doing a tour on the East Coast, you're coming through Delaware.
Correct.
Are you going to stop in Delaware? Maybe at the rest stop.
Right.
Because there's no venue booking these bands.
You know, and so
RIP Grange. I wish like we could still be doing what we were doing over there, but like, really the only venue left is the Queen.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
and there's no local music
let's
scene.
expand on what we can do.
Right.
Look at that pie chart. I feel like we've been filling out about 10% of that pie chart. There's a whole other 90%. Now maybe not that whole 90% will work, but let's throw at least 50 more % of taking a chance here of this genre or this show or this band or whatever have you. But yeah, that's all it is. We'll see what happens.
If you tell me, do you want to go to the Philadelphia to see a show, or do you like to go into Wilmington to the Queen to see a show? I'm going to the Queen.
Yeah.
You know, and that's nothing against Philly. I love Philly. Philly's like my second city. You know.
Yeah,
like
absolutely. We were just in Philly last night. We're in Philly a couple times a week. It seems like
there's great venues up there, but we don't have that variety here. All right, so a couple more questions for you. I also wanted to ask you: is there a band that you always wanted to book that just got away? You could never book them.
H2O.
Really?
Still love them. Yeah, like we always talk. It'd be like, it'd be great to book H2O. It'd be so cool. And we had like some emails going back and forth at one point. Didn't quite work out. But hey, man, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
You know,
you don't get all of them.
Yeah. And so another band would be Fall Out Boy.
Right.
that just got away from us. Literally. I mean, I still have the contracts, like where it says, okay, Fall Out Boy's coming on, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be awesome.
If I didn't see Fall Out Boy with you, who did I see Fall Out Boy with?
I don't know, but they were on tour.
I gotta figure out where I went to that show. I always thought that was the Grange.
They were on a tour. We had them booked, but it was in the point where they were blowing up.
Right.
So like 2 days before our show, they got pulled off that tour and put on another one.
Wow.
And they weren't headlining it or whatever, so they weren't like, you know, super like technically like contractually like had to be on that show. So God bless them, because I mean, look what happened.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? But they were like, it just like slipped through your fingertips. You might have seen them at like the Legion in Kennett or something, because like Taking Back Sunday played. We were talking about like.
Do you know Fred?
We were talking about like the homies Centerview, like Adam Alexander, Matt Fetter, and all those awesome dudes over there. Whoops. So the Legion Hall back there, they had booked like so many sick bands. I mean, and this is like maybe like right transitioning from, you know, into like what we were doing at the Grange.
Sure.
Sometimes they slip through, man, and you can't be mad that they're going onward and upward to bigger and better things, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Did you know Fred, I can never say his last name right, Mascherino?
Yeah.
Did you know, I don't know what happened to him.
Great musician.
Yeah, I met him up in Westchester a long time ago when he was playing with Breaking Pangea.
Oh, yeah.
And
those guys are awesome. They're so rad.
I'm going to tell
Will on the drums.
I'm going to tell a story out of school, because Fred, if you're ever listen to this, I'm sorry for telling this out of school, but we're not that close. We're acquaintances. But one of the coolest things that I ever heard about Fred, and probably one of the most talented songwriters in this entire area,
without a doubt,
he took Taking Back Sunday to a different level when he joined that band. But did you know they offered him $1 million to join Taking Back Sunday?
Wow.
True story.
It's good pay. I mean, that's a good payday, and he deserved every penny of it, because he was one of those dudes working, grinding, hustling, you know?
So having a beer with him, right?
Yeah.
And he's talking to all of us, and he says, basically, he said, you know, I'm going to do it. He goes, I'm not really like into this overall. This isn't like what I would do.
Yeah.
But he said, I got to provide for my wife.
No doubt.
He said, so I'm going to do it. I'll do it for one tour, get the song out, I'm out of the band. Mm-hmm. He came back for a second time.
Yeah.
And then he's out. Mm-hmm. He has a great band. The Color Fred, as well as what was the band during the arson fires up in Phoenixville? He released Terrible Things.
Oh yeah.
That music is phenomenal. And I've been waiting for his follow-up ever since, and I've been out of the scene, and I haven't seen him. I don't go up to Westchester. I don't even know if he's still up in that area. But if Fred...
we know Fred is on the horizon somewhere.
Yeah, if Fred, you're doing something out there...
He's just one of those people that will never stop writing
music. Make more awesome music.
Never stop putting out music.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like hardwired into the code.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see...
Big up Fred.
Yeah, I'd love to see him. So, Fred, pick up that guitar.
Yeah, dude.
Give us a new album. Is there a scene today? Is there a music scene?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be like real blunt about that. I mean, you got there's always little scenes, but I mean,
I mean,
Newark's got like
community.
some great like indie bands and like Fiance. I know that like they're doing their thing and like they'll have house shows and stuff like that, and they'll play like other venues, this and that. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not that like I don't have my finger that to the pulse at this point right now.
Yeah, I'm
regarding a lot of Delaware action per se, but not the toot our own horn, but just looking back again, like consistency.
Yeah.
The bands that we had, the level, the caliber, and the caliber of the shows. I mean, we had good production. Like,
right.
We didn't have the greatest sound, but I mean, we had some subs.
We had good sound.
We had decent sound, right? Yeah, definitely fit the venue. We had some modest lighting and stuff, and the sense of community, absolutely the sense of community. I feel like that was like one of the biggest parts about that whole mid 2000s era, because we weren't just like showing up and playing shows together. I mean, after the show, we were going and hanging out somewhere, you know, like on the weekends, like maybe like somebody will pop over. Again, we were talking about Centerview, like, oh, I'll pop over and help out with a recording session. You know what I mean? Like, what else can we do? Oh, somebody needs a flyer done. So, like somebody do this, like, like everybody like had their part, played their part. So many great people, so much passion. And it was the place to go. I mean, every Friday, Saturday night, you'd have all kinds of walks of life. People would find themselves there. There's a lot of lost kids that didn't really know quite where they fit into society, so to speak, and different regards and things like that. And we're all kind of lost, here in life sometimes until we figure out, oh, this is what I like. Wow, I feel different. Wow, this is cool. Like,
the biggest thing somebody ever said to me is, "What is your purpose?"
What's your purpose?
And like, and I think that's when you're a teenager. And you couldn't pay me to go back to the age that these kids are. You couldn't pay me. Like, you'd be like, I'll give you $10 million, but you got to go back to being 13 years old. I'd be like, nope, I'm good. I got my children. I got my wife. I'm happy.
Yeah, no regrets.
No regrets.
This is the way it was all meant to be played out.
Those were rough years. But I wish somebody had said that to me when I was younger. What's your purpose?
Yeah.
Because that's all you're looking for when you're that age. You're like, where do I belong in this community? Who do I belong to myself?
Yeah.
How do I belong to other people?
Yeah.
And, I find myself in this classroom now teaching and running the radio station, running the stuff. Because
I love it.
The purpose is,
God bless. That's great.
Give back.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt.
One day
give back.
One day I'll be underground, and hopefully this world's a better place because somebody allowed me to walk on it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Man.
So
the influence that we have on the youth is so great.
Right.
And not to get too political or anything, but I know I'm sick of the news and this and that and everything going on. So it's like, obviously I don't really see many any mentor type folks on CNN or any of those channels right now. Blah 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 blah. Whatever.
Kids don't have people to look up to.
So to be a strong, positive figure in kids' lives today goes so far.
Right.
I mean, let's be cliche. They're the future. The children of tomorrow are going to be the ones. When we're 6 feet under, as you put it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is going to be their show.
Right.
So it's our job to help groom and help show them the way and feed them with positivity and love and nurturing. And let's see what ends up happening. Let's see how this shakes out. And I could tell like man, it's some like again taking it back to like the Grange and like some of the great kids that would come out there. It's wonderful. It lights me up just to think about it right now. And like when I'm looking on Facebook, seeing what these kids are doing, the ones that like were at every single show, and now like they're pursuing and living out their dreams. They're in Nashville, like in the music scene, or they're a doctor, or like some people are actually like getting into politics and things like that.
Right.
So you know what I mean? It's like
our bass player does neurosurgery.
There you go. Saving lives.
Yeah.
What's up?
I always find it funny. I'm like, wait. So, Greg, if you're listening to this, shout out to Greg.
Big up Greg. That's a lot of schooling right there, man.
Yeah, I mean, he was getting ready for medical school when he was playing in our band. And that's why, like, half our shows, we always had a different bass player because,
gotcha.
He couldn't make everything. But I'm so proud. Like, I look back and I'm like, yeah, like, we had our little thing going on, but neurosurgeon, man, saving people's lives.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, music, the thing about music is when it hits you, you feel no pain. Now, music is just such a great outlet and an artistic form, a release. I mean, it could be anything that you want it to be.
Sure.
And we were talking a little bit before this, for the interview. It's like, just because you've had, you had your run or whatever, your day in the sun, had some fun with it, not everybody's going to make it. I mean, like, you probably have a better odds of hitting the lottery or whatever, like than making it in a successful band or being a DJ or a solo artist or or whatever. But you never lose everything that it gave to you. It makes you the person that you are. So you translate that to, okay, what's my next step in life? Let's go to you, Greg. I love what you're doing here.
Right.
Like, you're so passionate about working with these high school kids. You got a great facility here. I mean, these kids are lucky to have all these tools and all these good people around them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what we're doing. This is the next step. We're giving back. We're going to nurture these kids. We're going to show them the way. And you know what? Let's see where they go. And let's be proud of them. 5-10 fast forward 5-10 years from now and see where they're at.
So speaking of the future, then, I've been told radio is a dying market. That the terrestrial radio is eventually going to give way the internet radio because cars will be able to stream the internet.
Okay.
And so shows like this that we're doing right now, people will choose, hey, you know what? I want to listen to that, and then I'm going to switch over to this station for that. Oh, I can listen to this type of music for here, and we'll become kind of fractured in the way that we are consuming music and radio and alternative media.
Yeah.
I struggle here because we're an FM station, but I wonder about pushing people to the stream versus the FM side.
I feel like stream is the way to go because all right, so shout out 102.9 WMGK.
Sure.
All my favorite radio host personalities on there. They play great eclectic music, and when I'm working doing like photography or videography work, and I'm in somebody's house or something like that. I do a lot of real estate photography now too.
Sure.
So like I turn something like that on, and it's like clean. I don't have to worry about anything. Good old classic rock and roll, like some Billy Joel we just played beforehand. You know what I mean? Like, it's all rock and roll to me, and it's just like a timeless music. So yes, you want to have radio in your life. You have to have radio in your life. I like personalities and stuff like that.
Sure.
We don't like all the commercials, but that part of radio should not die.
Yeah, we're non-commercial, so we're blessed there. Like, it's like, hey, we can do what we need to do.
Absolutely.
We can talk for 27 minutes and not a big deal.
Is that what we're into right now?
Yeah, we're at 27.
Oh man, we're just rolling.
I know we
Time
are.
flies when you're having fun.
I am getting towards the end, but we're rolling.
Yeah, that's cool. I got time. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you came in.
It's good to reconnect. But no, streaming is the way to go. Where I was going with that was, if I'm like out of town,
right,
and like I still want to listen to a radio station, well, I can go in and stream 102.9. Sure. I can stream Pandora, I can stream SoundCloud, this or that. But I like hearing those guys talk.
Exactly.
And I'll listen through their 10 minutes of commercials, just because I enjoy that and I want to support it. So like, this should not go anywhere. Like, I don't think that radio should be, let's premix the whole day's playlist and do a couple little drops and make it sound like somebody's really there.
Here, right.
Yeah, no, that's not cool. No. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's trying to consolidate every single job, and your bottom line is everything. Like, no, budget accordingly. Some things should not die. Some things should not go anywhere.
Right.
Technology's great, but it can also, stunt us and stunt our growth.
Gets really disruptive.
It'll get really rigid, and music is not rigid. Music is a free-flowing art form. So, it needs to be broadcasted by wonderful people like yourself.
Well, that's very kind of you. Hopefully, it will be broadcast by wonderful people like these students that are getting ready to come into the room pretty soon.
Oh yeah.
Here. So my last question is, I often get asked questions about things like, hey, do you miss playing in bands? Do you miss touring? Do you miss doing this? And there's a part of me that does, and there's a part of me that I'm just so glad that I had that experience, and I don't miss it at all.
Yeah.
And I really mean that. Like, it was fun. It was great. And I'm sure that putting on these shows was the same type of experience for you. But I guess my question is, would you be interested in any way relaunching Project Unity, or do you think in some ways you just want to kind of from the rise out of the ashes like a phoenix and create something completely different? What would you do? Do you have anything that you're thinking as far as what you would want to do next?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, the Queen.
Sure.
I've been knocking on their door for about 6 years. Had about half a dozen interviews. Felt like they went great on paper. Obviously, I'm a great candidate, if not one of the best. Like, come on. Just look at all the shows we've done. But, besides that, Project Unity was what it was at the time that it was, and I think it needs to remain there.
Okay.
I think,
I'm going to be doing, say that.
I'm going to be doing new things, and working for different companies, this or that, might rebrand something new, whatever.
Sure.
But I kind of just want to. I feel like it's time. Yeah, I feel like it's time. Like, you know, every 7 years.
Right.
I don't know how physiological you are. I don't know how
our
spiritual
bodies,
you are.
yeah.
But like every 7 years, I feel like we come into like a big change in our life.
Yep.
And I'm 34, knocking on 35's door here. So August 8th, 82. Hey,
I'm 79 right here. I'm
there you go.
38 years old.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, definitely coming out of like that chapter. I mean, man, that was like 2 chapters, really. Because even though we haven't been active in the past couple of years or whatever, the tail end that we were active, you know, the water went, the heater went. I mean, electrical issues, so many things that needed to be fixed for us to do stuff out of the Grange. And
sure.
And for whatever reason, we never really ventured out and, you know, like I always wanted to like rent out like the Bob Carpenter Center or something and do like a crazy, like huge show, right?
Right.
Or like the Chase Center on the riverfront or something like that. So for whatever reason, none of that really ever panned out. But what we did at the Grange, solely, exclusively at the Grange for so long, is enough for me, and I love it, and wouldn't have done anything any differently. And you know, I just want to keep that. Like, I basically like look at like 2001 to 2011. Even though we were active like for a couple more years
Sure.
after that, I feel like we finally like really just said, okay, we're shutting this down. Like, this is it.
Right.
Not even too long ago, like within the last year. So it's hard to step away from.
It is.
We're like really emotionally.
Well,
like,
you get attached to it. It becomes your child. Like it's something that, you know, the relationships.
We saw like, you know, like 3-4 different generations of kids, like
Right.
starting from freshmen in high school, you know, graduating high school, going into college, doing whatever they are with their life. You know, we see these kids every week, you know, like
Right.
we're proud of what we're doing. You know, it was community based at the end of the day. And that's the only reason that we were able to maintain doing shows at the Grange, is because even though, like, you know, there's this issue or that issue, the church next door, like, always had some kind of issues and stuff. But at the end of the day, people tried to see the best, the good in it.
Sure.
And it was giving kids a place to go. It was keeping them off the streets, you know, keeping them out of trouble, at least, you know, for a couple hours, one night, 2 nights a week, whatever. You know what I mean? We weren't babysitters, but at the same time, like, you know what I mean? Like, and a lot of great bands came through, a lot of love in the building, a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of good stories. So yeah, you know, it's hard to take a step away from it, but I think at this point we're doing it the best justice to say, hey, we had a good run, Project Unity Productions, you know, mid 2000s, like boom. All right, what's next? You know, if I get this job at the Queen, which I'm really hoping to, I want to bring great shows back through Delaware. All the contacts, like we said, still have them, and they're better than ever. You know, so let's get something going here, guys, and hopefully that'll parlay into other things, working with other companies and partnering up with other people in Wilmington, Newcastle County, like whatever. I'm here. I'm a hired gun. You got a venue, I can book the bands for you. We can set it up. Want a street team? We'll put it together. Greg, we're gonna do all the film work right here with McCain students right here. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get this synergy going. We're gonna do some things that people have never seen before.
Right. Possibly book a big concert right here in our gym.
Possibly.
You know?
What do you think?
Yeah, maybe we're teasing something, maybe we're not, you know.
Could be heavy.
Might be throwing down something, maybe not.
Could be cool.
Yeah, we'll see what may happen.
See what happens.
Yeah. Well, Harry, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day
to
come
be
a part of this. We'll get the podcast up on our website. You can also follow us now on Facebook. We just started that. It's facebook.com/881WMHS. We are getting ready to launch our native app on the iPhone and Android device, so you won't have to worry about TuneIn and all those other things. You have your own app just for this station. That's unlike anything else that you're going to see, and we have a lot of creativity coming your way pretty soon. We want to thank our caller right before this interview started for asking to play Forever Country. But because Harry's here, we're going to play Forever Country, but it's going to be after this song. We're going to go with a little classic music, classic rock.
Okay.
And it's a song because I just think maybe, you know, you might be back, man. You might be coming back. We never know.
Let's see what this is.
You know, so here we go. Everybody have a great day. AC/DC, Back in Black.
Yeah, peace, love, and rock and roll.